Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Amitofo. I just checked the Buddha Dharma Pure and Simple book 2. We have actually 50 topics, and today is the 26th. That means we already
Halfway.
We are near to the Buddha path. we are near to the Buddha, and today we have Luisa to lead us no truth beyond the mind. So thank you, Luisa.
Thank you, Master, for allowing me to extend until now, the last part of the series. Okay, maybe request Brother Erwin to share the article. Can we assign someone to read?
Okay, so I'll start to read and pass it to someone else later. No truth beyond the mind. The non-Buddhists mentioned in Buddhism refers to those who are seeking beyond the mind for the truth. Most people seek externally for the truth and do not know of the boundless treasures that lie within. Buddhist practitioners should self-reflect instead of seeking beyond the mind for answers, as one will only stray farther away from the truth. As the saying goes, Bodhi is found within the mind and not without. To discover his Buddha nature, Chan Master Cao Zhuo Chongsheng, I don't know if I'm right to pronounce that, also known as the ancient Buddha from Cao Zhuo, decided to travel the land and continue to learn at the great age of 80. When he returned from his journey, Cao Zhuo finally realized that he had wasted money on his straw sandals. Bhikshuni Wu Jin-chang of the Tang Dynasty once composed a verse. Excuse me. I ate too much mango seed. Spending all day looking for spring without seeing spring. Wearing out the straw sandals on these cloudy peaks. Upon return, I casually sniffed the plum blossoms, only to realize that spring is already fully on the branch tips. So let me call Paul.
Hi, Momitofu. It will be difficult to discover oneself if one persists in searching for the truth externally, for the true Buddha nature is intrinsically in one's mind. One day, when Minister Pei Shu went to pay respect to the Buddha in a temple, he saw a portrait hanging on the wall outside of the main shrine. Curious, he asked, "Whose portrait is this?" The reception monastic replied, "This is a portrait of the true demeanor of an eminent monk." "I see the portrait, but where is the eminent monk?" Unfortunately, the monastic did not know how to answer his question. Pei Shu asked again, "Is there anyone who practices Chan in the monastery?" "There is Chan Master Huangpo Shiyin," the monastic replied. When Chan Master Huangpo came to meet Pei Shu, the latter asked, "I have seen the portrait of the eminent monk. Where is this monk?" Huangpo immediately shouted, "Pei Shu!" Pei Shu answered with surprise, "I'm here." Huangpo laughed heartily. "The eminent monk is already here. Why search for him elsewhere?" Do I continue? Or I call someone. Maybe Miss Auntie Marlene.
Oh, so many religious followers hope to receive spiritual insight from their object of faith. For example, those who pray to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva hope to receive anointment by her nectar, or those who pray to Jesus also wish to receive his miracles. These are merely actions that seek for the truth beyond the mind. Spiritual connection comes from within. It is only found in the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Jesus, or wisdom that are within one's mind. Oh, every day, people are busy chasing about the six sense objects. The eyes desire after beautiful things, the ears different sounds, the nose fragrant or strong smells, the tongue sweet and refreshing taste, the body a soft touch, and the mind discriminations and calculations. When can the intrinsic mind be discovered if one continues to pursue external things? In contrast, when Chan masters close their eyes and cease to see, listen, or speak, they can fit the entire universe in their minds. Okay, I call cons.
As said by Huineng, the sixth patriarch in the formless Gatha, with an even mind, why bother upholding precepts? With an upright practice, why meditate? Body is found within the mind. Why bother looking for the extraordinary outside? Listen to what I have just said and apply it. The way is before your eyes. Buddha Dharma is not to be discovered from the external world, but the internal mind. It cannot be discovered afar but nearby. If one is able to constantly self-reflect, one will realize that the way is before one's eyes and body is in one's mind. I have always said that we all have an original self, which has many duplicate manifestations that can help us accomplish things. If one's original self is lost and sought for externally, then one is searching beyond the mind of the truth, which does not accord with the truth. How wonderful would it be if one can confidently say, I have found myself. In discovering one's true self, one fully understands who one is. This is not an easy feat to achieve. It is precisely because people in this world do not understand who they are, that they are constantly trapped in ignorance and afflictions, and hence are unable to live in perfect ease.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, we'll have a quick review on what we have read. Let me share screen. Can you recall what we read? All right, the title of our article is No Truth Beyond the Mind, from the Buddha Dharma Pure and Simple, Book 2, by Venerable Master Xing Yin. Okay, let's go to the first question. Can you see my screen? Okay, now who are non-Buddhists? Can anyone answer? Who are non-Buddhists? Anyone?
They are the seekers of the truth.
They are the seekers of the truth. Okay, where do they find the truth?
From the article, it says they're seeking it beyond the mind, so outside.
Okay, so those who are seeking the truth beyond the mind, those who non-Buddhists are those seeking beyond the mind for the truth. So here, when you talk about non-Buddhist, quote unquote, this does not refer to like other religious faith like Muslim or Christians or others. So here we explain that who are real Buddhist practitioners. They are the one who seek the truth not outside or beyond the mind, but instead they seek the truth within themselves. Okay. Let's go to the next question. What did Chan Master Zhao Zhou Chongshen? This is how you pronounce. Zhaozhou is a place in China. Chongshen is the name of the monk, the Chan Master. What did he learn when he returned from his journey? Any answer?
He said he wasted money on his straw sandals,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't understand what he meant.
Yeah. During that time, of course, they have no shoes, right? So they use straw sandals. And Zhao Zhou Chongshen, he was a monk ordained at a young age. And he lived until the age of 120. And he traveled around China to seek for teachers. So when he came back, he said he wasted money on straw sandals. Zhao Zhou Chongshen is a very funny and a little bit comedian. He's really a very humorous chant practitioner. So let's see later on. We'll watch. Let's read something about some stories about him. So he wasted money on his straw sandals. One time, what happened? There was an argument about a cat in the monastery. And while they were arguing and asking, Master Chongshen, and then what did he answer? How did he answer? He just put his straw sandals on his head and just walked away. This is a story about the cat. Okay, and let's go to the next question. So here, before I proceed, are the different places where Master Chongshen went around to seek the Dharma, to look for teachers. Okay. See, this is the Chan lineage. And down here, we can see the name, the yellow name, that is Zhao Zhou, a place, Chongshen. They usually put the place where they stay, and the last name, two names will be their actual name. So his teacher is Nanquan Puyuan. Nanquan Puyuan, his Dharma teacher, is the Chan master ahead of him. Okay, next question. Where can one find the true Buddha nature? Anyone wants to answer? Ube?
In one's mind.
Yes, in one's mind. What else? Who else would like to add? It will be difficult to discover oneself if one persists in searching for the truth externally. For the true Buddha nature is intrinsic in one's mind. Just like we said, in one's mind. You don't get it, the truth externally, but true Buddha nature is in one's mind. When you talk about Chan, we will always remember Chan Master, or the sixth patriarch of Huainan. What did he say? That the Dharma is in the word, but it's not apart from worldly awareness. It's within the word. Seeking Bodhi apart from the word is like looking for horns in a rabbit, on a rabbit. So can we find horns on a rabbit? No, cannot find. So if you want to know about him, you can read on the Platform Sutra. Okay, the horns, seeking horns on the rabbit. You can read on the Platform Sutra. It's about Chan Master Huainan. And he was the last, the sixth patriarch is the last. There's no more seven patriarchs. Here, a Japanese Zen master, he said, all beings by nature are Buddhas. as ice by nature is water. Apart from water, there is no ice. And apart from Buddha, apart from beings, there is no Buddha. Here, it says like there's no distinction between ice and water, just like you see, just like a coin, right? The two sides of the coin are just within the coin. Next question. What are the six sense objects that people chase? Hello, anyone? What are the six sense objects? Any guess? What do you chase?
Beautiful things.
Yes, beautiful things. The eyes want to see beautiful things. Beautiful sceneries. What else? What about the nose? That taste.
The nose is fragrant or strong smells.
Yes, for fragrant, strong smells. You know, even too much fragrance is bad also. I remember the other day, I accidentally poured down a handful of aromatic essential oil. And
Oh my.
so, I was, headache the whole night. I was not able to sleep. And I woke up from my dream that I was being suffocated. And at 2 a.m., I asked my son, Scott, let's go out of the house. Bring me outside. Cannot breathe. A few drops lang dapat, diba? A handful, ilang ml yun. Pour down. Just, headache and you feel nauseous. Okay, what else? So here, eyes desire beautiful things. All of us, most of us, we want to see beautiful things, beautiful sceneries, beautiful objects, people, right? Ears, different sounds. We like to listen to, good words. We don't like people criticizing us. We don't like that, right? And the nose, we want to see the fragrant, to smell the fragrant, strong smells. The tongue, sweet and refreshing taste. The body, a soft touch, and the mind, discriminations and calculations. Last week, Monday, I went out with my old schoolmates. We had a bonding. We went to Tagaytay and we indulged our senses. And these senses, we went to see the beautiful scenery in Tagaytay, the mountains, and we talked and we have fun. And then we smelled the fragrance, the aroma of the coffee. We went to Crosswind. We went to Napa Valley and also the ruin. We called it the Napa Valley, the ruin. And the tongue, we want to taste the sweet taste of the cakes. And there we also experience the cool weather. So it's really a wonderful experience to be with old friends after the pandemic. Now, the question here is, because things like this, these are not permanent, right? It is based on circumstances, it depends, it will change. So are we still happy? Am I still happy even without my friends around me? Will I still be happy even without them? Right? Will my happiness be dependent on them? But because it's only impermanent, it has accumulations conditions. Okay, we cannot be together most of the time. It's good, of course, for us. We feel lonely, we go out and see our friends, we chat, we talk. It's a therapeutic. But in the long run, at the bottom of this is, can we still be happy without external? Can we find happiness within ourselves? Right. Okay, next question. Why can't people find their true self? Cannot understand who they are, unable to live with perfect peace. Why can't they find perfect peace? Why can't we find perfect peace? Can anyone try? For example, that's exam. Okay. Any guess?
Can I try?
Yeah, sure. The answer is here.
because I recall that the Buddha taught us that our dissatisfaction and
Mhm.
problems arise because we
Mhm.
don't perceive the true nature of reality,
Mhm. Yeah.
I think.
We cannot perceive the true nature of reality because we are trapped in ignorance and affliction,
Ignorance.
right? We are trapped in ignorance and afflictions. And what are the ignorance and afflictions that we have? What are those? Can you say some of our afflictions or ignorance? Ignorance of what? Like ignorance of like what? Any answer? Yes, Sir Erwin?
Yes, I'll try to share how I understood it.
Mhm.
Earlier, diba, we discussed about the six senses.
Mhm.
So we as human, we know that we like these six senses. Like we want to see something beautiful, taste
You
something.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, we enjoy based on these six senses.
Mhm.
But the Buddha said that we are ignorant. So why are we ignorant? Because people actually realize the impermanence aspect of all these senses. But because of our ignorance, what we do is, because we know it's impermanent, then we look for more. So if the food is yummy, we know that it's impermanent, because if we ate all, then there's no more, then we have to go buy some more. So ends up, we chase for more. So no wonder the Buddha said that we are ignorant, because we never realize that because it is impermanent, then the chasing is so pointless. Right?
Yes.
Because of impermanence, whether it's impermanence as in it can get lost, or impermanence that it cannot give us lasting satisfaction.
Because it's impermanent, so you want to,
Yeah, that's the ignorant part. That's why we keep on chasing. We never end. It never ends.
Never ends. Correct. Impermanence and ignorance. Even sometimes we know that this is not really good for us. We certainly know that this is, it harms us, but it still go ahead because of our chasing. We are attached to for example, the taste.
Yes.
Just like my son who loves to drink ice cold drinks and deeply fried chicken, covered with so much flour, right? And every time I tell him, he won't answer, he won't believe me, and said, "Oh, I hope I have the wisdom of a Chan master in how to, make it realize. No, I don't what magic word to say, just like the Chan masters, in order to convince him to stop." Okay. So ignorance, we have so many ignorance, like we are ignorance about impermanence, the law of causality, the law of dependent origination. We ignore them, we don't know about them, we don't understand them. Even if we understand, because of afflictions, we are trapped into it. We are afflicted. We have the poisons, the three poisons that is trapping us, which is the greed, excess greed, anger, and ignorance. Okay, can anybody tell me what did Buddha say upon when he attained enlightenment on the night of his enlightenment? What did Buddha say? Peter, you know the answer?
I believe it's all sentient beings have Buddha nature.
Yeah, correct. Buddha said, marvelous, marvelous. All sentient beings have the Tathagata wisdom and virtue, but fail to realize it because they cling to deluded thoughts and attachments. So all of us have Buddha nature. Nakatago lang. It's hidden. We have to find it. We have to find it. Unearth it. the history of Chan, when Buddha, in the later years of Buddha, before his paranirvana, one day he went to a pond, and we called that was the flowers. We called it the flower sermon, because it's called flower sermon. He did not say anything. He took the flower, the lotus flower, direct from the pond, from the muddy pond, and showed it to everyone. At that time, nobody say anything. Everybody is quiet, and who is the only one who react? And that is Mahakasyapa, and he smiled upon seeing the flower. So it is called Nian Hua Wei Xiao. Pick up the flower and with a subtle smile. So here, this is the start of the non-verbal transmission of the Pradnya wisdom. And Buddha has entrust Mahakasyapa to become his successor from the day forward. And then from Mahakasyapa and all the way to Bodhidharma. When Bodhidharma came to China, it was in 6th century. The Chan school, or we call meditation school, is one of the different schools in Buddhism. It is an indigenous form of Chinese Mahayana Buddhism developed during the 6th century. And subsequently, it was also spread out to East Asia. In Japanese, we call it Zen. In Korea, we say Son. In Vietnamese, Tien. So in Sanskrit, it means dhyana or meditation. So it became so popular during the Tang and Song dynasty. During the Tang and Song dynasty, these are the dynasties that, Buddhism, Chinese arts and culture, poetry really flourished. Let's see some Chan Kong-an. What is a Chan Kong-an? A Kong-an, or in Japanese Koan, is an encounter between Chan practitioners that reveal some wisdom. And it is a short and somewhat playful exchanges between the Chan masters of the past and their disciples, which are remembered today and contemplated. So the question and answer between the master and the students trigger rapid enlightenment in the students. This is to shoot them away out of the conventional ways of logical thinking. Chan, or the Kong-an here, is beyond, the answers are beyond logical thinking. From the New World Encyclopedia, it says that the Kong-an, the Koan, is aimed to exhaust the analytic intellect and elevate the mind to a new level of intuitive awareness. It's actually beyond logic. It's about intuitive awareness. It is also a communication in some aspect of Zen teaching, and it's a test of the student's understanding. Excuse me. Hello? Call you later, huh? I'll call you later. I'm in a phone call. I'm at a meeting. Call you later. Sorry. Okay, this is the master, Chan master Zhao Zhou Chongshen. He is known for his paradoxical statements and strange deeds. Zhao Zhou became ordained as a monk at an early age and the successor of Chan Fuyuan. He was at the later years, he was in Kuan Yin Monastery of Zhao Zhou. So he has so many Kong-ans and very famous sayings, no? And one of them is the famous Zhao Zhou Wu, who is nothing or emptiness. One time, Zhao Zhou, when he was going around and looking for teachers, and he encountered Nanquan Fuyuan, and he asked, "What is Tao, or the way?" And Nanquan Fuyuan said, "An ordinary mind is the way." And Zhao Zhou was asking, "How do I know?" Nanquan Fuyuan said, "It cannot be pointed out. Tao is not knowing or unknowing. It is always there. If you know, then you are deluded. If you don't know, then you are unaware. So if you realize this, It is like seeing the moon in your heart. So reading this, it reminds me of the Diamond Sutra. You know, in the Diamond Sutra, right? It says this and then it negates that, right? It is there, it is knowing and unknowing. It's the way he answers, like what we read in the Diamond Sutra. Either you know, you unknown, this and this is not this. Okay, this is a story about Chan Master Matsu Taoyi of the Tang Dynasty. He was already old and then he went back to his village. And when he went to the village, he has a sister-in-law who really, respect him. And one day she asked him how to become enlightened. And then Master Taoyi said, take a chicken egg and hang it in midair, then listen to it carefully every day. So when you hear the egg make a cracking sound, then you will be enlightened. That's all it takes. It's very simple like that. And then she didn't ask anything. She didn't question. So she just believed him and do as he asked her and suspended the chicken egg and there with a rope and suspended the chicken egg there and listened to it every day. And hear if there is any sound every day. But for many years past, she didn't hear any sound. But one time, what happened? Of course, due to time, and the weather, because of weather, the ropes started to rot, and the egg, and then the rope broke and the egg just fall there with the sound of a crack, fall down on the ground with the sound of a crack. And at that point, when the sister-in-law heard this, she became enlightened. See, by the cracking of an egg, you can become enlightened. Okay, here we go. So look at this picture. What can you say about this basing on the story? Okay, anyone wants to share any insight?
1 + 0 = 1.
1 + 0, that's an egg, equals 1. What else? What else? Break away our logical thinking. Okay, is it mathematically correct? Any guess? You can try. This is just a discussion. When you answered it, you can win a hamburger, veggie burger in our tea house. Okay. Any guess? Peter, want to say something? Any idea? Anyone? Okay. Do we have Carl here? Carl, are you present?
Carl is not.
He's absent. The mountains are waiting for him. So here in this picture, this is the self, and this is the egg, which means that the self and the exterior things are originally one. For there never has been a word outside the mind. The sound of the cracking egg broke the distinction between the external and the internal, and the separation of the self and the others. As long as one's mind is unified and concentrated, even here, an insentient object, this is insentient like the egg, right? Insentient can teach the path to enlightenment. She was able to attain enlightenment, see, by just listening at the cracking of the egg. Right? I hope I can gain enlightenment by hearing the crack of an egg. Okay, let's go to the next. One time, a novice once asked Zhao Zhou, Chongsheng, he said, how should one learn the way? How should one meditate? How should one meditation be practiced? How does one become enlightened? How does one attain Buddhahood? Can you ask Master so many questions? So many questions at the same time. No time to answer one at a time. What did Master Chow Chow answer? What did he answer? He said, I don't have time to speak with you. I have to take a pee. The Chan master started to walk away, ignoring the novice astonishment. He was surprised. The Chan master did not answer his question. After his few steps, he suddenly stopped and looked back and said with a smile, you asked me such big questions, but even something as small as peeing, I still have to do it myself. How can you do it for me? That's his question. He questioned back. He didn't answer, he questioned back. Okay, smart answer, right? A Chan master can, answer with you with another question. So one time also, excuse me, sorry, I'm the only one at home, so nobody will answer get the phone. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Someone asked, well, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? And then the Chan master, I responded, go drink tea. And this person asked again, what was my original face before I was born? The Chan master again said, go wash your arms balls. So here, why? What is the relationship? Why do we have to drink tea, wash the arms balls? How is it related to enlightenment? They are closely related, actually, if you think. If you can taste the subtle flavor of wisdom in the food that we eat and the tea that we drink, then we will be able to see our original face and know the teachings of Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Maybe then the Buddhist teachings are not to be sought in lofty places. Instead, we should experience it with an ordinary mind, natural and simple. We don't need to go out of the way to find it somewhere, just like Chow Chow went to 8 different masters to seek for the answers within himself. Maybe someday, maybe by drinking our milk tea or taking our donut, we can find our original face at that time. So the daily life of a Chan practitioner is not separated from our work. We still have to work, we have to eat, we have to, wash our, plates, we have to go fish, and we have to still go on with our daily life. Just like a fish cannot live without water and trees cannot grow without the soil. The daily labors are the provisions which support him on that path. It doesn't, it is not apart from our daily life. It is part of our life all the time. Many Chan masters become enlightened while bent over piles of split wood or shouldering heavy loads as part of their daily work. This from Master Xing Yin at page 57. Okay, so see, the Chan master still attained enlightenment even by doing piles of split wood or shouldering heavy loads. Here, look, for example, Chan master Xiang Yan Zhi Xian became enlightened by hoeing and tilling a field. Tongshan Liangqi became enlightened when he caught a glimpse of his own shadow in a river. And in Japan, Master Muso became enlightened. Imagine as he slept leaning against a wall. And Monk Su Yun became enlightened by breaking a teacup. So, cons, what do you want to be? How do you want to be enlightened? What position do you want to be when you're enlightened? In a computer. We attain enlightenment, a realization. while typing, talking with your clients, right? What about Erwin? How do you want to attain enlightenment? In what position?
I like the sleeping.
You know what? There was one monk, a Chan master, suddenly at the middle of the night, he shouted, I'm enlightened, I'm enlightened. And everybody were surprised. What at the middle of the night? What did he enlighten about? And he said, what is it about? I realized that Bhikshuni are female. The Pichoni are female. They are female monks. It's so funny, you know, sometimes. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here, it talks about the mountain. For an enlightened Chan master, can you read? Can anyone read? I think I have Carl is here, so he can read for us.
No, Carl is not here.
Okay. Can we ask, say, Ube, can you read this one?
For an enlightened Chan master, mountains are still mountains and rivers are still rivers. The difference is that the mountains, rivers, and the great earth itself become one with the Chan master and can be used as he pleases. The way is within you. It is not something that can be sought outside of you. Therefore, to become enlightened, you can only rely on yourself, for enlightenment can only be realized on your own.
Yeah. Yes, true. So mountains are mountains and rivers are rivers. The difference is that for the Chan master, it doesn't make any difference. They are one with the mountains and the rivers. The way is within you. It cannot be something that can be sought outside of you. So what is Chan? Chan is the essence of our true intrinsic nature. It is our original face, and it is an inexhaustible treasure. There are actually books now where we can read on this. There are 1,700 koans in all. There are two major collections. You can read on the Blue Cliff Records, Pi and Lu, consisting of 100 koans selected by commented by Chinese priest Yuan Yu. Okay, and also another one is a gateless gate called Woman Quan, a collection of 48 koans compiled in 1228 by Chinese priest Hui Kai or Woman. Okay, but for me, this is my favorite, the Chan Heart and Chan Art. It is a collectible item. I think it won an award, I think, in America. It is by Venerable Master Xing Yin and translated by edited by Pei Rong Li and Dana Dan Lam. And Master Xing Yin commissioned two artists in the US that time, Gao Erkai and Fu Xiaoyu. They are really very, very, very good artists. And the illustrations here are really very beautiful. This is published by Buddhist Light Publishing. So if you don't have this book, you can get hold of this, maybe order, but this I collect this book. I want this because see here, this is my book, and I also watch there are so many beautiful, you know, the illustrations here, the looks of the characters, they have different, you know, the faces are not duplicated, no repetition. They have different features, different, you know, expressions. They are all different. A work of a master artist. That's why I like this book. It is in English. And there's an explanation every after the Quran. Okay, the stories. Okay, let us watch this one, some Zen koans.
How do we explain the unexplainable? This question has inspired numerous myths, religious practices, and scientific inquiries. But Zen Buddhists practicing throughout China from the 9th to 13th century asked a different question. Why do we need an explanation? For these monks, blindly seeking answers was a vice to overcome, and learning to accept the mysteries of existence was the true path to enlightenment. But fighting the urge to explain the unexplainable can be difficult. So, to help practice living with these mysteries, the meditating monks used a collection of roughly 1,700 bewildering and ambiguous philosophical thought experiments called koans. The name, originally Kung An in Chinese, translates to public record or case. But unlike real-world court cases, koans were intentionally incomprehensible. They were surprising, surreal, and frequently contradicted themselves. On the surface, they contained a proverb about the Zen Buddhist monastic code, such as living without physical or mental attachments, avoiding binary thinking, and realizing one's true Buddha nature. But by framing those lessons as illogical anecdotes, they became tests to help practicing monks learn to live with ambiguity and paradox. By puzzling through these confusing cases, meditating monks could both internalize and practice Buddhist teachings. Hopefully, they would let go of the search for one true answer and trigger a spiritual breakthrough. Since these are intentionally unexplainable, it would be misguided to try and decipher these stories ourselves. But like the monks before us, we can puzzle over them together and investigate just how resistant they are to simple explanations. Consider this koan illustrating the practice of no attachment. Two monks, Tanzen and Aikido, are traveling together down a muddy road. Ahead, they see an attractive traveler, unable to cross the muddy path. Tanzen politely offers his help, carrying the traveler on his back across the street and placing her down without a word. Aikido was shocked. According to monastic law, monks were not supposed to go near women, let alone touch a beautiful stranger. After miles of walking, Aikido could no longer restrain himself. "How could you carry that woman?" Tanzen smiled. "I left the traveler there. Are you still carrying her?" Like all koans, this story has numerous interpretations. But one popular reading suggests that despite never having physically carried the traveler, Aikido broke monastic law by mentally clinging to the woman. This type of conflict, examining the gray area between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, was common in koans. In addition to exploring ambiguity, koans often ridiculed characters claiming total understanding of the world around them. One such example finds three monks debating a temple flag rippling in the wind. The first monk refers to the flag as a moving banner, while the second monk insists that they are not seeing the flag move, but rather the wind blowing. They argue back and forth until finally a third monk intervenes. It is not the flag moving, nor the wind blowing, but rather the movement of your minds. One interpretation of this koan plays on the supposed wisdom of the arguing monks. The first asserting the importance of the observable world, the second favoring deeper knowledge we can infer from that world. But each monk's commitment to his own answer blinds him to the other's insight, and in doing so, defies an essential Buddhist ideal, abolishing binary thinking. The third monk identifies their conflict as a perceptual one. Both arguing monks fail to see the larger picture. Of course, all these interpretations only hint at how to wrestle with these koans. Neither the wisdom from practicing monks before us, nor the supposedly wise characters in these stories can resolve them for you. That's because the purpose of these koans isn't reaching a simple solution. It's the very act of struggling with these paradoxical puzzles which challenge our desire for resolution and our understanding of understanding itself. Want to try your hand at some puzzles that do have resolutions? Check out our riddles playlist and get solving.
Okay. There are so many riddles. Get solving. Okay, that's interesting, right? The Chan masters, no, very interesting. There's so many stories. If you want to be to learn and you're curious, you can read some more and watch the Zen koans. So now we go to the very the part that it's this is a very nice poem written by the Song Dynasty poet Su Shi. As I mentioned before, during the Tang and the Song Dynasty, we have so many poets and practitioners, Chan practitioners at that time. It flourished Buddhism flourish, and arts, even arts and literary. Here it says here, the first stage of developing meditative concentration. Can anyone read? Can we ask someone to read? Sheila, would you like to read?
Okay. It's a mountain range when viewed horizontally, a peak vertically. Near, far, high, or low, how its appearance varies. One cannot know the meaning of Mount Blue, for one is on that very mountain itself.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So here is the first part, the development of before developing meditative concentration. A mountain range when viewed horizontally, peak vertically, near, far, high, or low, its appearance varies. One cannot know the meaning of Mount Blue, for one is on the very mountain itself. How do we understand this line? How do we understand? Let us discuss this. Let us share your insight on how do we understand this line. Anyone wants to share any insights? How do we understand this? Maybe later on, if we may need the guidance of Master, and how do we understand the mountains and rivers? Okay, for me, I think here in the part now, one cannot know the meaning of Mount Blue, for one is on the mountain itself there, just like you're there, and in the mountain, you cannot see. I mean, you cannot understand the meaning. You're there itself, just like you're in your body. It's very, how do I explain it? You're there in the mountain, but you cannot see it, right? What do you think, Erwin? What can you say about it? How do you understand this line?
I think it still goes back to the five senses, no? Because when we look at the mountain from afar or from above, near, we see it as mountain or as peak, or we can call it a hill, right? Depends on the different perspective on how we see it. But we cannot understand the mountain. This is like saying we cannot understand ourselves. Why? Because we are standing within ourselves. We are always looking outside, so that how can we understand ourselves? Right? So we're very observant for the outside world, horizontally, vertically. We are very well in explaining the mountain, but we are not able to explain ourselves. Why we cannot explain ourselves? Because we are standing on top of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're not able to see that because we're always looking outward.
Looking out on the mountains. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Erwin. What about anyone who wants to speak? What can you say? Master, maybe Master? Master Yolin. How do we understand this? I'm also asking you, not that I know. Not that I know, because I want to discuss this with all of you.
I checked the Song Dynasty. Su Shi is actually Su Tongpo. It's the same person.
Okay. Su Tongpo, a very famous scholar.
Scholar and artist also.
Yes, yes. Poet and artist. Su Shi. His another name is Su Shi. Right? You always have this discussion with Master Po Win, right?
Yeah.
They always have this discussion, Master Po Win, and that's so funny. It's always being, at the end, he lost He lose.
He always think that he is already enlightened.
Yes. And he said that, "Pa feng chui putong ah, the 8 winds cannot move me." But it's just one word fart, and the wind blew him all the way down to the river to see Master Fo Yin.
Yeah, Maris also give comments.
Yes.
Oh.
And Maris is here. Is she here?
She
Oh,
was
Amiel, you're here. Manuel, you just arrived. You just listened just now.
I just got here. I just finished my class.
Your class.
Yeah.
Okay. What about anyone wants to share? Peter, is you any thoughts on this to share with everyone?
Can I just take an uneducated guess?
Mm-hmm.
I think because I'm stuck at the point where it says the first stage of developing meditative concentration. So as far as I know from meditative concentration, it's just to focus on what you're doing right now. So it looks very typical that when you look at the mountain, you'll view it externally as everyone described, that it's horizontal, how the length of its horizontal length and vertical, and then you judge how near and how far it is and how high and how low it is. So again, you're looking outside, but when you want to see the full picture, you can't. So the full picture here is Mount Lu, right? So you cannot know the meaning of Mount Lu because you're seeing from this perspective. It says for one is because you're on top of it, you can't look down to see the whole thing. So you can't actually see Mount Lu and you can't really see the whole picture.
Yeah. You're looking at it outward, the external thing. You're looking at it externally. Right. You cannot see clearly by yourself because you are there on the peak. Okay. What about Master? Any insight or comments? I cannot find the Chinese version of this, but I think that the poem is really very nice. I'm trying to look for it in this 365. I flip over 365 pages, but I cannot find the poem. But so beautiful. There are actually this book. If you have the chance to get all of this book, I think it is recommended to read on this 365 because it's a compilation of many beautiful thoughts and poems here. And Master, when I was flipping over this, even if I was able to read all of them, I was really very thankful for Master Xing Yin for giving us this treasure. Really, it's a treasure. You will appreciate it from the thinkers of the past and the present. Very words of wisdom. Not only Master Xing Yin, we have poets and philosophers and famous people. Even Jack Ma's words is also here. Okay, Master Yolin, or who else want to say something? Master Trudy.
Auntie, hello. Hi, hello.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Yeah,
Good evening.
So I just realized something, and I'm not sure if it's related, but while reading the slide, I realized that it's very applicable in one's life. For example, when you are stressed about something, if you have a particular problem, at that point that you're having the problem, you cannot really know the solution to that problem, not unless you take a step back. That's the only time that you would know that there is actually a solution for that. At that point that you're experiencing the problem, you can just describe what's going on, but you cannot really, you cannot really find a solution. So it's like, for one is on that very mountain itself. Well, we are on that mountain. We cannot concentrate well. We cannot find the logical,
You're there
for anything.
because you cannot find like a third party. You should be like
because you're there in the mountain and you're overwhelmed by the presence of the mountain. But
so you should get out of the mountain.
You could be, because if you are overwhelmed by the mountain itself, then you cannot move on to another place because the
Yeah.
mountain seems big for you or
Mhm.
seems high.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think about this.
Yes. So because you're within the mountain, you cannot see from afar clearly what you should
Yeah.
are there inside.
Yeah.
If you get out of the mountain, look it in a different perspective,
A
then
bigger picture. Yep.
bigger picture. Yeah. Yes. Good. Good insight. Who else wants to? We have to
We are all stuck in the mountain.
stuck in the mountain. Stuck in the mountain. Okay. Any master, you want to add words on this before we go to the next slide? Another mind cracking. I hope that there's a mind cracking and we will take away our delusions and differentiation.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, actually this poem kind of reminds me of the story of the six blind men who like touching an elephant.
The elephant.
Yeah, so then one was touching the tail and saying, "Oh, the elephant is like a rope because you know the shape of the tail." And so,
Tail.
and one blind man was touching the leg and said, "Oh, the elephant is actually a trunk." So different people. So it's like us right now. We're like the blind men. We're discussing, we're describing parts of it, but we don't really know the whole the entire thing. So I think that's what we're going through right now, because of course none of us are enlightened yet. We're all blind. So we're only discovering, we only know from based on our experience, from what we can touch. That's how we describe this poem. That's based on our experience, that's how we see the poem as. But actually the reality is it's bigger than that. We must combine all of our experiences, all of our opinions, and then finally, hopefully, we will realize that the elephant is actually all the sum of these parts. And by sharing our views, our different opinions, we will then realize the truth. So, yeah, I'm really quite confused right now. I'm like living a koan myself. So, the article says that non-Buddhists are the ones seeking the truth outside of the mind. But how will I get to enlightenment if I don't join this group discussion like that? This is seeking outside of my mind by listening to you, by listening to your sound, to you, watching the slide. This is seeking outside of my mind, but through this process that hopefully I can get to enlightenment. So it's really contradicting. So I'm kind of confused right now, but I think confusion is good because then you realize that, okay, I'm not enlightened. I still have a lot to learn. So I'll go back to reflection and meditating. And I think that's where the article is leading to. Go back to yourself and realize that it's actually inside. So hopefully I'll get there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, it's like when you're seeking awakening or realization, it's just like you are carrying your, you have to cross the river. You need a raft, you need the boat to reach the river. You need the boat, just like when you want to learn about Buddhism, about the Dharma, we need to study and learn from books, from discussions from the masters. But if one reaches the shore, to reach that part, you let go of the boat or the raft. It's a tool, but eventually we still have to go inward ourselves. Seeking, let's just like make it simpler, like finding happiness elsewhere. But happiness cannot be found elsewhere because it is fleeting, it's subject to change, right? Without prior notice, sometimes if changes from time because of different conditions, it will change. You cannot grab it for the long time permanent. So we have to find the happiness in our own, right? We cannot rely on outside, external. We have to rely on internally ourselves. So it's very good that you express your insights, and we all share. We haven't touched that base or the tip or the base of even the base of enlightenment. We are not yet in that position. We are just in the developing stage, meditative concentration. And hopefully someday we will all together attain awakening, realization. Okay. Anyone want to add something, Master? Okay. If not, we will proceed to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Let's just appreciate this as a kind of poetry appreciation. Okay. Second poem. Can anyone read the second poem? Please, Paul, would you like to read?
Sure. Second poem describes a state where one is in meditation but has not yet attained enlightenment. Mr. Rain over Miss Mount Lu or
Mount
Mr.
Lu,
Lu?
sorry.
Mount Lu.
Mount Lu.
Over Mount Lu and the waves of Zhejiang. Missing out on such marvels brings 1,000 unbearable regrets. But upon actually seeing them, there is nothing really there. Just Mr. Rain over Mount Lu and the waves of Zhejiang. Yeah. I'm confused.
It becomes complicated.
Complicated.
Mr. Rain over Mount Lu and the waves of Zhejiang. You know, poets are really very poetic. You know? They love to, you know, the scenery is there. Maybe in that time, that mountains and rivers are so beautiful and they are so inspired. Right? Missing out on such marvels brings 1,000 unbearable regrets. You miss out the marvels, you will regret it if you don't, you know, enjoy it. But upon actually seeing them, there is nothing really there. Just misty rain over Mount Lu and the waves of Zhejiang. Okay? Malalim ba? Very deep. Sis Marlene, you want to say and comment on anything? You want to share something? You're muted. You're muted.
Let me go back to the first slide. The first slide was like the first stage of developing meditative concentration. I don't know if this is correct. It's just my own interpretation. It's like the first stage of meditative concentration, we are very aware of the external conditions. We're very focused on like some there's a Chinese term. 师父，那个是言，我们是什么点呢？禅静的时候有一个
所缘境。
Yeah, right.
The point where we have to focus.
The point where we focused. It's always the first stage is, yeah, it's the external. But then that's the first stage, but we have not really looked, you know, reflect and, you know, inward on, you know, inside. I think that's the first step that it means.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second stage is, so now you move to the second stage of meditation. Kind of like you already understand like about emptiness, but there's nothing like, you know, I don't know. I'm just still I'm figuring out. But the first slide, it's like what I think. It's just like we focus on the external and we are very aware, we're very observant, very focused with a certain point, but we have not yet reached the point of like looking inward. That was the first slide. But this slide, the second state of meditation, is I think we understand already about the principles, but we only understand, but we're not yet enlightened. But we come to a little bit of realization about the principles, but we're not yet enlightened. It's just like I know, but I have not really kind of like embedded in myself. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
I think we are not enlightened yet. That's why we cannot.
No, I just know the principles. I just know the teachings.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I know impermanence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have not really like kind of like apply it to myself. I just know the principle.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm reading this, I'm wondering if the poet has already achieved or attained enlightenment. That's why he was able to write this one. Now we will go to the third poem. The third poem. Can anyone read this one? And Emil, can you read this one?
third poem describes the state after attaining enlightenment. The sounds of the rippling creek are all words of the Buddha. The mountain scene is none other than the body of the Dharma. Night falls and one contemplates 84,000 verses. Just how will I tell others these truths at some later time?
Okay, so here, what happened? After attaining enlightenment, so the sounds of the rippling creek are all the words of Buddha. Everything is about Buddha. I mean, you connect the the enlightened person and the Buddha. I mean, they are just like one, right? Everything is less one, just one. The mountain scene is none other than the body of Dharma, and everywhere you see, it's just like you are, connected. You're only one. You're one. You're connected. You're one. Night falls and one contemplates 80,000, 84,000 verses. Just how will I tell others this truth at some later time? Maybe because it's very hard to explain. It is just to be, it is a feeling, you realize it, but it is unable to explain it. That's why in the first and second, we cannot also explain these lines.
Could it be the third stage you already kind of like integrated, like the truth in, like, it's everywhere. Dharma, the teachings is everywhere. It's around you.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Everywhere.
I don't know. Yeah, it's, you look around, it's everywhere.
I agree. I agree to that view. That first stage, just looking externally. Second stage, learning about the Dharma, and third stage is connecting them that they're actually one. I agree.
Even they say that even the grass and the trees becomes.
Yeah. Dharma is everywhere.
Even the grass and the trees.
Yeah.
So looking back, let's go back to this one. Remember, Master Xing Yun said here, for an enlightened Chan master, mountains are still mountains and rivers are still rivers. The difference is that the mountains, rivers, and the great earth itself become one with a Chan master, or an enlightened person, and can be used as it pleases. So the way is within you, it is something that can be sought outside of you. Okay, it becomes one with a Chan master. And hopefully we can reach that stage where we are one with the word, we are one with everything, the rivers and the mountains. Okay. Now let us watch this one. Let us read this one. I got this cartoon, modern cartoon about Chan, Zen tunes. Here, can anyone read, please? Can anyone read?
Auntie, yes. Hello. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I can be the novice monk.
Okay. Who will partner with you?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a role play.
Your role play. Let's have. What about Peter? Role play with Emil. Your role.
Yeah. Master, what must I do to learn how to live in the here and now?
The answer is very simple.
Okay, very simple. Okay.
Eat when you're hungry and sleep when you're tired.
But that's what everybody does.
No. Everybody does not do that. Most people are looking at their phones when they're eating and think about their problems when they're asleep.
Me thinking, it'll be best not to tell him. I respond to my emails when I'm in bed.
So this is what is our modern people now.
Multitasking. Say multitasking.
Multitasking. Probably that's what we are now. How can we practice Chan? Well, it's very hard for us now to do that, right? You have to take a lot of discipline to focus on your eating and sleeping, right? You eat when you eat and you sleep when you sleep. You don't text when you eat. You don't drive when you drink. Okay. Okay, before I end also, I want to share this beautiful song, my favorite song. This is in Chinese. 幸福是什么? Okay, what is happiness? Read. It is written by Master Xing Yun and composed by Li Pinzhong. If you ask me, what is happiness? Actually, it's not a very hard thing to do. Happiness is being satisfied or contented, and everything is simple. If you ask me, what is happiness? Actually, it's not a very hard thing to do. Happiness is being successful as a person and doing things properly. What is happiness? It is really. Happiness is being carefree, peaceful, and we can see things with an open mind. Happiness. What really is happiness? Happiness is being healthy and there's no suffering of sickness. Happiness sometimes is in our hands, sometimes is in the ocean, sometimes in our heart, sometimes in our dream. What is happiness really? I tell you, it's not worth a penny. Actually, when you change your mind, transform your mind, that is the start of we always look around finding. We are trying to find happiness and looking around and round. And we have discovered that happiness is beside us. Even many people never found out. But happiness is very near us. It's because we never discovered. Being contented, being simple is happiness. Happiness is being carefree, peaceful, and have a broad mind. It's happiness. It is good health also, and no suffering of diseases. Happiness is in our hands sometimes. Sometimes it's in the ocean, sometimes in our heart, sometimes in your dream. What is really happiness? I tell you, it's really nothing secret about it. It's about changing our mindset, transform our mind. It's the start. When we have this gratitude in our heart and we treasure and cherish what we have, and we realize that happiness is just beside us. Wishing you all the best. Have happiness and good cherish happiness. Okay, I hope you like the song. I hope you can find happiness within you. And remember the Heart Sutra. Where does it start? Everything starts with when you change your mindset and you transform and you. Where's my?
你想知道过去我是怎么从奶茶店工作到现？
Sorry, yeah. I'll go back to my share screen. We're almost done. Almost finished now. Okay, so here is the song, the translation of the song is just here. So these are some koans, koans that you can reflect. Famous koans or questions. What is my original faith before I was born? Do dogs have wooden nature? What is the sound of one hand clapping? You can contemplate on that, meditate on that. Emil? So I'd like to wish everyone, may we all find our original faith and maybe find the truth and happiness within us. Yeah, that's all for today. And I hope you have, learned something. Just later, I'm sharing something for you. Thank you so much. And you have any question? And if you have any question, you can direct it to masters. Or maybe master will give us koan to reflect upon so that we can find our original face. Amiel, when you drink your milk tea, you drink it with awareness. When you eat your donut, you take your donut with awareness. Maybe through that, you can find awakening. Okay, Master Yolene, you want to say something?
Thank you, Luisa. I'm still stuck in the mountain.
We're stuck in the mountain. We will go to that mountain. We will reach the height.
Thank you everyone for your insight, and just this few days, I reflect on myself. I found like I'm still lack of compassion. When people requesting things, and I will still use my way of concept or the view of thinking that, oh, this person, they can do it. Why they still request, they still ask for help. But after the truth is, we didn't see each other for like more than 2 years because of the pandemic. And after I saw the person who requested for help last few months, I suddenly feel very guilty because my concept or my view is still my memory is still stuck on before I met them during the pandemic, before the pandemic. So they are still very healthy, and their mind is still very clear. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic and all things, maybe the mentally and physical is not as good as like last time. So so this is my reflection on these few days. So I really feel very guilty on that. And just now when you talk about the developing on the meditation and the 3 points and all this, I'm very happy to hear the recite from the people shared just now. And I also agree, maybe sometime we are just there in the point, especially the beginners like us, we will try to look for something outside, and many times we forgot to check on our inner. But during the meditation, it's like this afternoon I heard about Master Yongfan's class. She say when only we will come down, we will see our problem. It's just like the water. I like to use mineral or water in the bottle. During the meditation, there's many scatter minds in our around, and it seems like the mineral water that we use to shake it, and there you can see the water is turning. And when the water is come down and quiet, that time only we can see actually our problem. And it can also reflect on during the meditation we sit in, because of the quiet moment. That's why we can see many scatter minds, many things around us. And there might be our problems. That might be the time that we can do a reflection. So we need many cultivation, any way of cultivation that you are practicing, to see through the problem, to overcome the defilement that we face on. So most of the defilement come from our attachment, the clicking on ourselves that created suffering. So just like what the songs mentioned just now, the happiness came when we know to change the mind. So sometimes we just stuck on something, like we are just stuck in the mountain. If we know how to go out of it, and then we can see the mountain is actually the combination of many trees or many plants. Sometimes we just didn't realize that, or maybe we are just stuck there. We just see a tree, it's this high and all short. But if we were sit on a helicopter to look from up to down, we can see the whole picture of the mountain. So, but of course, we also have to go in and out sometimes, so that we can realize we not just see the whole picture, but sometimes we can understand the simple things that created the whole pictures. Okay.
Travel in and out to see the whole thing, whole picture.
Yeah, in and out.
Inside the mountain, within the mountain, to feel outside of the mountain.
This is actually we did know. Sometimes we try to look for the answer of what we don't understand. Maybe we're just stuck in a circle or in a mountain.
We look inward. We don't find the answers outward, outside. The answers are in the question itself.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Master Yolin.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, it's 9:30 already. Sorry, it's took so long. Shall we start with, are we done? We want to have these transfer merits.
Yes, unless anyone wants to add something or have any questions. If no more questions, then we'll go for the dedication of merits. Okay, palms join, everyone. Thank you.
May we also transfer the merits. May the world find peace and the conflict in Ukraine and Russia will end. And may all the people will be safe and go back to their normal lives. Let us transfer the merit today to all of them. Thank you. Thank you everyone for listening.
Okay, let's take a picture.
Yes.
Anybody else wants to turn on your video? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. We'll have lotus flower. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Sapo.
you everyone. Thank you, Brother Erwin.
Thank you,
Good night,
Luisa.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye po.
Bye.